Welcome to yet another video, and today we're going to be drawing a Dartrix. So a Dartrix is an evolution of a rollet. If you didn't watch the first video that I uploaded earlier on this week, I actually uploaded a video of me drawing a rollet and drawing along for you guys. So if you want to draw, if you want to check that out, it's going to be linked in the description to this one. But today we're going to be drawing a Dartrix, which is a second form evolution from a rollet. Rollet evolves three times. It evolves to a Dartrix, and a Dartrix evolves to a Deciduous. But today, let's draw the Dartrix. So this should be a lot easier than you think. We're going to go ahead and draw one straight line here to represent the body. And we're going to draw a line off of it to represent the wing on the other side. And this is what we're going to build on. As simple as that. So we know his body is bigger up and smaller as it goes down. So that's exactly what we're going to do. We're going to make his body big up and small as it goes down. And then for the feather, for the tail feather, we know it's smaller as it attaches to the body, grows a little bigger, and then thins in a little bit as it goes all the way where the tail goes from. When you get these proportions right, the rest of the things will come a lot easier for you. So now we know the body, where the head is. We're going to cut this off. So this one, you can see where the tail fin attaches to the body is almost where the head ends here. So we're going to go ahead and draw that in there. And we have a bow tie in there that ends almost where the feather tail attaches on the other side of the body. So we're going to need to draw that in there almost like that. And if you did not watch the first video where we were drawing the rollet, I explained the patterns in here a little bit further, but I'm going to still explain these patterns. So it almost goes the same way. Now we're going to draw the head coming off of this. This one, they add features. Of course, it's an evolution, so the features go in and expand a little bit more. For example, our owl now has hair, but we still need to cut this in to show where his mouth begins and ends around here. So that's going to be us putting the mouth in there a little bit. And right away, he starts to get character. So this one in his face is kind of like an apple shaped or love heart shaped. So you want to put that in right away. You want to get the proportions right at this point. You don't sweat the small things, but just go with the big shapes and try to get as many as the proportions right as possible. So his eyes or her eyes are going in there because she's kind of a happy-go-camper. We're going to cut the mouth into two to try to indicate where it goes with a line that cuts across it to go all the way where the mouth ends. Oops. That is the eraser. I didn't mean to activate that. And that looks good so far. Take my hand off so I can see where we could go next. You know what? Let's work on the head right away and make sure that one is out of the way before we actually move to any other part of his body. Let's block in everything that we're supposed to be blocking in here. So his hair, we drew the outside line first. We drew the outside line first, and then we drew the inner line, which is also the middle line on top, in there to come join this one on the bottom. And then this other one cuts off like this to come and join in the bridge of the nose. So that one is almost done. And we're going to go ahead and draw the hair on this other side and bring it all the way around to where it touches, like where the cheek is supposed to be. I'm going to delete some of these because it's becoming too many lines. And I'm going to draw round off the head over there. So that's it. Almost, the face is almost done now. But now I realized one thing, and I told you this in the first drawing, that when you see a mistake, it's actually easier to rectify it as soon as you see it and not come back to it later on. Because you see where this hair goes in his face, we'd put it way down here, but it's supposed we'd put it down here, but it's supposed to go almost where the touching almost where the beak ends, and it shows off a little bit of cheek here to go into the bow tie. So that's pretty good so far. We're gonna go up here now, start blocking in the body a lot more. So the body here where it touches to the tail feather is a little bit rounded, so we're gonna go ahead and indicate that. And we're going to go ahead and take the tail feather off of that to go away. There's a lot happening in here which we need to deal with sooner or later, but to determine that, let's first cut off where this his jacket kind of cuts across. So his jacket goes almost around here. It doesn't go too far down. If you pay attention, it goes like right here, and it's still repeating these patterns. You see where the head went, where the bow tie started, and that's where the his chest is also going, or jacket, or whatever you want to call it. So it has some form to it. So we're gonna go ahead and block that off, and we're gonna go ahead and block this one out as well. And we're gonna go ahead and block this other side, which goes into the tail fin that has a little other feathers coming off of it. And those are three of them. So at this point, you don't need to block them out exactly the way they look like. You just need to indicate them in the right patterns first of all, and in the kind of right proportions. That's what we're going for in the initial sketch. And we're gonna go on this one. So you remember in the first video I was talking about when we were drawing the rollet, I was talking about my drawing kind of procedure in details, and it's exactly what you're getting even today. So we start off with blocking out these the features of the character and making sure that everything is going where it's supposed to go proportionally. And then after that, we can now go in and start adding a little bit more details on the second phase of the sketch. So now you can see he has this thing that he's wearing here that looks like his pants. So you want to cut that off right here. And the leg now comes in, his left leg comes in on that side and stomps uh, right down there. So if I may cut this off here down in his pants, this is gonna go down like this, and that gives me the idea for where the other leg, for where I want to put the other leg, coming down here. And I'll deal with the feet after I deal with his right wing. So his right wing, I'm gonna go ahead and determine where it's supposed to go by looking at where his jacket is up here and what proportion is supposed to be in there. And then I'm gonna cut off where where his right wing, where I think it's supposed to go. So it's actually long, it goes all the way to the leg. So you see I'd given him a small one over there, but because I'm looking at the reference image, and it's actually, this is even closer to his bow tie than it's supposed to, because the reference image is showing me all that. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go ahead and put it a little bit outside his body. Maybe let me draw the one on the outside first. It will give me the proportions right. And I'll come back and draw the inside part in a little bit more away from his body from the bow tie area than it was at first. So now this shows me one thing, that his legs are too close to each other. When you see a mistake, rectify it right away. So I'm gonna go ahead and delete this other leg here, and I'm gonna go ahead and bring this wing to touch over here, because you can see literally the right leg jumps out of it like this. And we had drawn that leg over here, but it looks like it's way outside. So we're gonna go ahead and put it way outside where it's supposed to be. And we're gonna go ahead and now start cutting it off here, because that looks like the right proportion than we had before. And it's also longer, so I'm gonna go ahead and delete this as well. And I'm gonna go ahead and bring this in, bend it in a little bit, cut across, and I could look up almost the bow tie middle section is where that leg pops out from. So you have to look at your entire character as a whole. You don't look at the character with just uh, that specific part that you're trying to draw, but you look at your character as a whole, because there is relations. How are the legs related to his bow tie? How his bow tie is related to his tail fin, and all that stuff. You have to watch out for all that. That's how you end up with a drawing that looks a lot more like your reference image. So I'm going to go ahead and start blocking off the feet now. Blocking in, I should say, the feet. This one is going to cut across this way. Start off from that, go up, and the other claw is going to come out of that and go this way, like so. So the feet are not the best fit that we could draw, but we're just going to block them in there to show where they're supposed to be. And later on, when we actually refining our sketch, we will go ahead and make them look exactly the way we want them to look. But for now, I'm going to do as much as I can to try to indicate where I want each toe of this Dartrix to be. So that looks pretty good. If you ask me, that looks pretty good so far. So what is going to go ahead and happen? Now I'm going to go ahead and actually start to block in more of the tail. More of the tail feather here. This one is going to go up. He has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 fingers on his tail. So the first one, which I think is the thumb, is shorter. And there's another one coming out of that. So let me draw lines to represent each finger first. 2, 3, and 4. So let me start with the fourth, block it off. And this one is going to go over here. They're kind of rounded and not as pointy as I'm trying to make them look. So I'm going to try to make them as rounded as possible. That goes over there. And you can see now just a mere drawing in of lines fast at least helped us with the placement where we want our fingers to go. And that looks pretty good. It looks decent enough. So what's going to go ahead and happen is now at this level, we will try to knock down the opacity of this layer, and we'll go on top of it. Now I got to bring the inking brush. So we go to ink and bring the technical pen, and we're going to go and add another layer on top of that, and we're going to go straight to inking this character, guys. The lines should be self-explanatory, and we're just going to go zoom them in. I usually call this process wrapping my drawing with lines. So I'm going to go ahead and wrap in as much as I can for this, with Procreate helping me to give me even more streamlined line work over there. It smooths your lines out for you a little bit. And the one on the bottom is going to go all the way to attach to the body. Actually, I lied. It's going to go and feed into this other section that will attach all the way to the body. So let's go ahead and uh, ink this other section here. It's not as rounded as I thought here at the tips. So there is a little bit of, we can't draw it. So if it was very rounded, we could just go like this and draw it in one take. But it doesn't look like that to me. It looks like it goes with one, pointed a little bit, and then comes in with the other like that. So it just makes sense to draw it in two takes instead of one take. That will make it even more round. And this is the one that is going to go and attach all the way to the body. We have the ones in the middle section here that look a lot more pointed than the first batch. So we're going to go ahead and put those in there. And now the final piece on this one is going to be these little ones that are very sharper. They are sharper than the ones we just worked on. So those are going to be a lot easier. The more the line is straight is the more easy it is to deal with that line. Straight lines are easier to draw with Procreate than curved lines, at least for me. I can't speak for everybody else. So this one I'm gonna make it a little bit pointed but also roundish to come and join that over there. This is not joined in, it's gonna join in all the way. When you see a problem, you fix it right away in order for you to be able to do what you want to do with this work. That looks pretty good. I'm gonna go ahead and work on his head over here for a bit. This looks to me like it's one line that goes all the way down like this until it touches the bow tie. So the bow tie line will complete that over there. It's the same line that goes all the way down this way, but we gotta delete it where it is inside the hair, and then draw the hairline. So this inking part, if you haven't noticed, is what I usually end on if I am creating a coloring book. And if you haven't seen my coloring books, I'm gonna leave the links to them in the description below, where you can actually go on Amazon and buy a coloring book by me. I have coloring book as expensive as $10, but I also have coloring books as inexpensive as $2. I have a whole wide range of coloring books, and I'm going to leave the link to it in the description below, sorry, that you can check them out. Now let's go ahead and draw his mouth. I realized there in the sketch I made it a little bit thin, but it's a little bit more rounded. So we're gonna go ahead and round it off. And it has these ones cutting through like this. So we're gonna go ahead and draw those. Draw the midsection, which now I'm realizing is only on the top. It's not all the way in the middle. And I'm gonna block in his eyes as well. So for the eyes, I'm gonna do a more vivid line, two lines instead of one line, so it can look like they have dimension on them. Now I just looked at my reference image and I realized this eye goes all the way into the hair, but I left a lot more space in there, so I can't do that. It'll look a lot more wonky. So I'm gonna go ahead and paint it in like that. It has enough likeness to it for people to know this is a Dartrix, which is exactly what we're going for. This one is a little bit more rounded than it is on our sketch, so we're gonna go ahead and round it off a little bit. And I'm gonna go ahead and draw his bow tie now, which should be not as complicated as it looks if you just know there's two lines that are going to be joining in on each other like this. And this one is gonna go and cut down all the way like that. They have two accents in there. Those don't look right. That one doesn't look right either. It looks like it's more slanted down like that. So they have two accents in there to make it look like a leaf. Remember, we talked about this when we were drawing the rollet. So this one looks like this one comes first. Some of these lines, sometimes it's just makes sense for you to know which line to draw first before you draw the other in order for you to get the curvature right. So that one looks good. And now I'm going to bring this line and cut off all the way. That is supposed to be his wing line. Repair that one over there a little bit. And this one goes all the way into this other line that feeds into his leg, like so. All right, that actually does not look bad at all. So this one for the leg is gonna go and attach to the one from the wing and will go all the way down. So that looks pretty good. So now a few lines and we will be all set with this ink phase of this character. And usually after the inking, I'm going to show you how I duplicate the layers in order for me to have a very nice layer to start blocking in the colors, or to at least do the color flats for me. So that's a trick that I usually use. If I may cut this off, they taper down a little bit when they're going. I'm going to make this a little bit longer. I'm going to make them a little bit longer. They look like in the reference image, they're longer than what I was trying to make them look like. This one to join in on the last part, and we're going to replicate pretty much the same thing on the other foot. So even this one, I'm gonna actually make them a little bit longer. I'm going to make them a little bit longer because I realized that given him small feet. And that is what art is all about, is finagling and trying to figure out something to get the likeness of what you actually are attempting to draw. So what happens here is that we have our inking layer in there, and the next thing that we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and duplicate our layers and start blocking in the color now. So now what's going to go ahead and happen is I'm going to go over here and I'll duplicate this layer and go to the one underneath, and I'll start coloring it in. So remember what I said is you just have to tap and leave the finger on longer on the reference image, and it will give you exactly what color you're looking for that part of the drawing. Oops, I don't know why that won't fail. Let me see what's happening here. Uh-oh, my application seems to be freezing. Literally, it's frozen. It won't move. It won't even draw. Okay, there it's back now. For some reason, it froze over there on me a little bit. It froze on me a little bit. So now I'm going to go ahead and delete this because we don't need... Oh, actually, that color is in a whole wrong section. So I'm going to go ahead and undo all the way. And I'll bring that color in the right section where it's supposed to be. We're going to go ahead and pick the green color for the bow tie and the hair. And we'll drop that in as well. This color here cuts across through his hair as well. And we're going to go ahead and use the green color. We're going to go ahead and use the green color again on the first part of the tail. And we have this other orangish color here. I'm picking all of them from the reference image, which makes life so easy, and you could work way faster like that. So I'm gonna go ahead and take the same orange color and drop it in the big orange brownish color. And this is it, guys. So what is gonna go ahead and happen, because predominantly this thing or this character is predominantly uh white. So what is going to go ahead and happen is we're going to go ahead and now start blocking in highlights and shadows, and we'll be able to finish this character. But before I go to that, I realized there's a part that we totally forgot, and this is the part in between his legs down here. So I'm going to go ahead and bring the sketching, the peppermint sketch pencil, use black, of course, and we're gonna go ahead and finish this part up down here. So I'm gonna go on the sketch layer, and I'll go ahead and include that because this is a part that we totally forgot. It's not in the sketch or in the um ink. So I'm just gonna go ahead and include that because you can't take a guy's tail away. That would be crazy. So I'm gonna go on the ink layer as well, and I will grab the inker, and I'll just finish this part off, guys, before we go into the highlights and shadows, which will be the end of this video. You guys, if you haven't commented, please let me know in the comment section below what you think about this, and if you love them, or if you haven't subscribed, please go ahead and hit the subscribe button as well, and let me know what you think about the entire concept and how we draw along with Simio art. So the Dartrix has this color on his feet that we're gonna go ahead and paint in now. It looks like he's wearing some big socks over here. I'm gonna go ahead and increase my brush a little bit, and I'm gonna color this in. They're kind of darker up, and they get, a little light as they go down. That's a sharp eraser, so I'm gonna make it just enough. So I'm gonna bring this, and you have to keep playing around with the tools you have until you actually figure out how to use all of them to fit your artwork. So now I can make it a little smaller. Guys, if you haven't seen it, creating this amazing Pokemon drawings that are just on paper, on regular pen and paper, and you can follow along with those ones too as well. So for now, I think we have 3 Pokemon down. We have Pikachu, we have Charmander, and we have a Bulbasaur. They're already all up. The videos, you can check them out. I'll remember to leave them in the comment section below on this video so you can check those out. And those ones, the way we're doing that series is that whatever you guys are suggesting is what I draw next. And all these Pokemon are on one piece of paper, and they're pencil, pen, and markers. So those ones are going to give you a different perspective of what these are, because these ones are digitally drawn, but the other ones are traditionally drawn. And I create YouTube shorts for them, as well as as well as videos for them. So I have so much content with them that later on I don't know what to do. I may actually create a how to draw each of them, like this series that you're watching right now. Um, but I have all of them recorded down, so it will just be a matter of me sitting down and editing them for you guys. Now, let me know in the comment section below if you would like, if you've seen those first of all, and if you would like to actually see, um, if you'd like to see the drawing tutorials for them. Because right now, what I usually do is I just post the speed videos, the time lapse, and I create some shots out of them as well. But I can also create kind of like these type of tutorials or draw alongs, so you guys can be able to actually draw along as we go by. So let me know in the comment section below if you've seen those ones, and if you would actually like to have me create um, drawing tutorials for them as well. So now what is going to go ahead and happen, we're going to go in here and we're going to put a few highlights that are in here in his jacket, just a bit of those, and then after that we're going to just put the shadows on him and he'll be all set. Most of these ones, just color flats are almost enough. So if you know what you're doing, it's just a little bit of tweaking here and there and you'll be all set, guys. And these ones, I'm not even bothering putting them on a different layer. Like, I'm still on the layer that has that has the uh, the color flats, just to add a little bit of personality in there in the painting. I'm gonna go over here on the hair and I'll pick that light green color. Oops, I didn't get that. I need that light green, almost yellow color for up here. And now I'm gonna need the dark green to go in here to put an accent in his kind of hair, to make it, to add a little bit of dimension to it, to add a little bit, a little tiny dimension to it. And that looks pretty good. In a bit it's going to be more convincing than it looks now, so I can take the sketch layer off so I can be able to see more and have a little bit more control. So what I'm gonna do now is I'm going to go ahead and add these bad boys in his wings. In his wings, he has these two little dots in his wings. Sometimes when I'm drawing Pokemon, I actually forget some stuff. I remember one time I drew Chespin. If you haven't watched that video, you should look it up. It was so funny. I drew Chespin and I actually forgot his nose. So I dished out Chespin. There's a Chespin drawing out there that I made with no nose. There's a Chespin with no nose. And for some reason, everybody was able to catch up on it and say, "Where's Chespin's nose? Where's Chespin's nose?" That's what most of the comments on that video say. Everybody's asking what Chespin's nose is, and I did not even realize it. So I went back on my channel a few hours later, and everybody was asking me what Chespin's nose was. I was like, "What in the world?" Unfortunately, I didn't clean it up, so there's a Chespin drawing out there with no nose on him. Talking about that, this is almost the same color scheme that Chespin actually has. Wow. So now we're gonna go ahead and add the shadow, especially this shadow that is gonna be running from his jacket to his body. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go above that layer and I'm gonna bring in a black brush, and actually what I'm gonna do, let me go ahead and delete that layer. I'm going to go ahead and you know what, let me actually do that. So still with my painter brush, going up, black color, I'm going to go ahead and start from all the way up here where I see the shadow coming in, and it's gonna cut across here, and it's gonna go all the way like where his shorts are and go over that way. So the rest of the part, the rest of the body on this side is all gonna have a shadow to it like this. And you can see how exaggerated it is, but hold on a second, you're gonna know exactly what I'm doing here. I'm gonna let you know what I'm doing here exactly. So um I think that's satisfactory. So what's gonna go ahead and happen, we're gonna go in it and knock the opacity all the way down, and now I can see where the lines are on the other layers that I want to get rid of. So I just bring my eraser and get rid of those. So if you do the shadows this way, then you have the same shadow running through the entire part of the character that you want to be shadowed. And I think that's actually a very good deal right there. And it's actually good to have the entire shadow on its own layer, so that way you have too much control of it. You can control it the way you want. You can delete it in some places that you don't want. You can tone it back. You can delete, like what I'm doing right now. You can make it a little bit softer with this smudge tool, like so. Like in here, it's so sharp, so I can smudge it a little bit. And I think that looks pretty awesome. So I'm gonna go ahead and bring the eraser, still erase it on this side. I have something coming off of his foot. I don't know when I did this, but this is ugly, so I gotta get rid of it right here. I don't know when that happened. And that is almost it. We're almost there, guys. We're almost there. It's coming out pretty good. And this is a Dartrix. This is a Dartrix, which is an evolution from a roll it. Oops, that's too big. I'm gonna push that down a little bit. Oh, that's too small. And I want to be on the shadow layer, so I can add this little bit of shadow on his nose or beak or mouth or whatever this is. Right there. And I don't know why they didn't put any shadows or anything in his tail fin right here. I'm just gonna add a little bit of this just to make it look like it has a little bit of dimension to it. But in my reference photo, that doesn't exist. That looks pretty good. So what I'm gonna go ahead and do, I'm gonna knock down the color of the background a little bit so we can be able to see him stand out a little bit more. Actually, to do that, I'm gonna need the color white. I may need the color white and just paint it in these other areas that I think are supposed to be white. That is pretty good. So thank you so much, guys, for watching as usual. I hope you guys liked this one. This was a Dartrix. It's the second in the series of drawing a roulette. Uh, hey, I'm on a wrong layer here. I just want to stamp my name in. And 24. All right, so there it is, guys. This is a second in a series. Remember, in the series we drew the roulette first, and we drew the Dartrix next, and after the Dartrix, we're gonna go ahead and actually draw the final form evolution of this Pokemon. Thank you so much for watching. I hope to see you again in the next video. Bye bye, guys, for now.